Okay, so it's just been about 12 hours. Our pork is ready to be pulled. What we're going to do before that is make a basic vinegar-based Carolina pulled pork sort of sauce. And this is more for flavor. This kind of gives it its tang. I'm still going to use the barbecue sauce that we made to finish it with, but I don't like my pulled pork too saucy. So this is more of a classic finishing sort of sauce that we're going to add. We're going to take the pork out. We're going to pull it, we're going to add it back to the crock pot. We're going to stir in this vinegar-based sauce, leave it on warm for a little while before we serve it. And then from there you can finish it off with the regular ketchup-based barbecue sauce. So what the ingredients of this are is get a half cup of hot water, get a cup of apple cider vinegar. Cut this down from a cup and a half. I just felt it was too vinegary for some people. But you can play with that, but like I said, for my taste, and for a lot of people I've made it for, it was just a little bit too strong, the vinegar. Paprika, cayenne, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a heavy pinch of kosher salt. I'm trying to do this one-handed. A couple of good solid grinds of black pepper. And then we're just going to combine them all until they dissolve. Should only take unless you have really hard old clumpy brown sugar, it should only take a minute for it to all dissolve together. There you go. It's very thin. But again, we're going to add this to it. This will give you the final flavor notes, and then how you opt to top it from there will be up to you when you make your sandwich or just serve it on a plate. So next we will pull the pork. Alright, so now we've removed the pork. You can see this is the bone that was in there. It fell apart as I took it out, so it just came right off. I let this cool a little bit. Now there's different methods for doing this. Some people chop it with a cleaver or a big knife. Oftentimes I will just use 2 forks and just go at it. What I've decided to do here, I've let it cool a little bit, put on some gloves, and I'm going to do just like the name would say. I'm just going to pull it apart with my fingers. It really, because we've been cooking this for so long, it really just falls apart. I wouldn't get too selective. You will see some fattier parts and some leaner parts, but that's really what pork's all about. So that's up to you. I'm just going to keep going at it with the whole thing. When I'm done, I'm going to now what I did do was off camera is I took the excess liquid, which was mostly fat, from the crock pot and turned it to warm, and I'm going to add this in there, and I will add the finishing sauce, and we're just going to keep it on warm until we're ready to eat. The sauce will really work its way right in. And again, that's really just going to give it that sharp vinegar note that you want out of your pork. So this is going to take a little while, so I'm not going to bore you with me picking all this apart. Alright, so there's our simply enormous pile of pulled pork. Add in this yummy, vinegary, a little bit of sweet, a little bit of hot. I set the crock pot on warm, which should be one of the settings that you have on yours. Again, I apologize for the one-handed technique. Alright, so we're going to leave this on warm. I'm going to leave it warm for about a half hour, but you can eat it right away. I'm going to get down a little bit deeper than that as soon as I turn the camera off. So, but you want to mix that in there well. I'm going to grab a wooden spoon just to get mixing it a little bit better. But you'll see the taste of pork is perfect. You don't have to add anything to it. I'm going to add a little bit of our homemade barbecue sauce to that, and we'll finish up. There we have our final product. Homemade pulled pork, the vinegar finishing sauce, and homemade top with the homemade barbecue sauce. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a staple. I know you'll love it, and there's always tons of leftovers. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you next time.